Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for being patient while I took a little break from posting videos. I moved into my new space. We'll hopefully be on a better schedule, but I hope that everyone has continued to practice and that you are all staying healthy and happy. Today's flow is going to work on the outer hips. We're going to work up to pigeon pose as the last pose of the day. I do recommend having blocks on hand if they're available to you. If not, maybe just grab a rolled up towel or a pillow just in case. It can be helpful for that last pose. And then we do end with an open-ended shavasana, so feel free to take as much time as you need there. At the very least, stay for 5 breaths. Ideally, take 5 to 10 minutes, really give yourself a good decompression, a good little break in your day. So wherever you are at, thank you so much for coming along with me on this yoga journey, and I hope you enjoy the flow. When you're ready to begin, find your way to a comfortable cross-legged seat. The hands can rest on the knees, palms up, palms down. Wherever you are, sit tall through the crown of the head. Imagine that you're going to stack the spine. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Close your eyes and start to check in with your breath. As you practice today, I encourage you to remember that life is full of ebbs and flows, of good days full of energy, of maybe more challenging days, more tired days. Whatever it is, life is full of ebbs and flows. And so today I challenge you to meet your body where it is at today, to meet your body where it is at in this moment, and to let go of whatever judgment or expectation you might have of yourself. To appreciate where you are at, whether you are in an ebb or in a flow. Wherever you are, know that you are where you are supposed to be. Remember to check in with your breath and stay present as you move through this practice. When you're ready, take a big inhale through the nose. Fill your lungs all the way to the top, breathing space into the ribs. And when you get there, open your mouth, sigh it out. Once again, take a big inhale through the nose, filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. Pause for a moment and then open your mouth, sigh it out. Begin to open up your eyes. Extend both legs straight out in front of you. Pull the toes towards your face, making the feet bright. And on an inhale, reach the arms up overhead. On your exhale, keep a long spine, fold forward. Maybe your hands come to your shins, maybe to your ankles, or maybe to the mat next to your feet. Try to relax the neck. Find a little bit of ease in this pose. Maybe you find a gentle side-to-side movement, just a little bit, starting to wake up the body. And when you've had enough, going slower than you want to go, walk the hands back in, coming up to a sit. From here, we're going to move our legs into a 90-90 sit. So take your right shin and make it parallel to the front edge of your mat. Toes stay bright. And find a 90-degree angle with your right knee. Take your left leg behind you and make a 90-degree angle with that knee. So forming a zigzag shape with your legs, 90-degree angles at both knees and at your hips. From here, sit up really tall. Bring the fingertips to the mat in front of your right leg.
And maybe you stay here, or maybe you start to walk the hands forward, folding over your front leg. So this is a modification for pigeon pose. It's a great hip opener. Our peak pose today will be pigeon at the end of our practice. So we're just preparing the body for that, opening up the hips. Again, really find some ease in this pose, trying to sink a little bit deeper with each exhale. When you're ready, walk the hands in, coming back to a sit. And then ground down through your sits bones. And using your hip strength, your core strength, lift the knees up and switch to the other side. So right where you are, just windshield wiper the knees so that you're still in that 90-90 zigzag. But this time, we're facing our left shin. Once again, sit up really tall, draw the shoulders away from the ears, fingers come to the mat, keeping a long spine, start to lean forward. Maybe you come down onto the elbows. Just waking up the body, trying to find a little bit more depth with each exhale. Remembering to keep the spine long, breathing space into your back on each inhale. Keep the toes bright. And when you're ready, walk the hands back in, coming back up to a sit. From here, swing both legs behind you, finding your way into tabletop. So however you arrive, take a moment to spread the fingers, wrists stack underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Draw the core in, making your midsection tight. On an inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone, lift your heart, finding cow pose. On your exhale, push the mat away, round the back for cat. Inhale, drop the belly, gaze up for cow. And exhale, push away, round the back for cat. Move through 2 more with your own breath. And then find your way back to a neutral spine. Moving into hip circles here. As we do these, try to keep your core as tight as possible and imagine that your hips are going to stay level. So the movement here will come just from the hip joint with as little swaying or rocking or tilting with the rest of the body. Starting with our right leg, bend the right knee. Using your glute muscles, lift your right heel up to the sky, and then start to take the right knee out to the side, and then forward and down and around. So making a very controlled circle with your right leg here, warming up the right hip. And maybe your circle is small. Again, this is not for how big we can make it. This is controlling our hip joint, waking it up, using our strength to move through these circles. When you've had enough, switch sides and start to take the same circle with the left leg. So again, bringing the left knee back, using the glute muscles, the hip flexors, bring it around to the side, draw it up towards your chest, and then back to center. So take about 3, maybe 4 on this side. And then find your way back to neutral. From here, ground down through the fingers, send the hips high, and find your first down dog. Take a moment to pedal out the feet, shake out the hips, shake out the head. Really set up a good foundation here, taking a moment to settle in. And just take a moment to check in with your breath. Make sure that you are continuing to connect to your breathing as you flow. On an inhale, lift the heels rising up onto the toes. Take small steps to the front of your mat, finding forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Again, finding ease, letting the head get heavy. On an inhale, bring the fingertips to the shins, rise up halfway, flat back. And exhale to fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to a stand, arms overhead, upward salute. Exhale, plug the shoulders into their sockets, drawing them away from the ears. Draw the ribs in, making the core tight. Ground down through all corners of the foot, spread the toes. Catch the right wrist in the left hand. Step the right foot backwards and a little bit diagonal as if you were about to do a curtsy, and lean to the left. So stretching out the right side body here, coming into Lakshmi pose, breathing space into the ribs, into the side body. On an exhale, bring it back up through center, and then take it to the other side. Right hand grabs the left wrist. Left foot takes a curtsy step behind, leaning off to the right. So stretching the other side of our body. Again, breathing space into your ribs. On your next exhale, come back through center. Take an inhale, grow tall through the crown of your head, and on an exhale, lead with your heart, forward fold. Inhale, fingertips to shins, halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Plant the hands, step back to high plank. Option to drop the knees and send the hips back to child's pose, or just send the hips high and we'll meet in down dog. Whether you're in child's pose or down dog, take 2 full breaths. If you're in child's pose, come forward, ground down through the fingers, and meet in down dog. From here, step the right foot forward to the outside of your right hand. Option to stay here in a variation of lizard, or maybe you start to turn your toes to the right, twisting a little bit to open up the right hip a little bit more. So coming onto the outside edge of the front foot, turning the toes, sinking into the hips a little bit. When you've had enough, turn all the toes forward, coming back to center. Keep the back leg strong, and then scoot the back foot forward just a little bit so that the heel can drop to the mat. On an inhale, lift the chest, lift the arms, finding your way into warrior one. Take a moment here to check your foundation. Hip bones are squared to the front of your mat. Back foot can be at a 45-degree angle. Heel is down on the floor. Front toes are straight ahead. Sink low into your front knee. Take a full breath here. Inhale to prepare, and on your exhale, push through your right foot. Come forward, lifting your left knee in front, arms overhead. So one-legged mountain pose here, one-legged Tadasana. Take one more full breath as you balance. And then lower your left foot down to the mat, coming into mountain pose. Inhale, grow tall through the crown of the head. Exhale, lead with your heart, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway, flat back. And exhale to fold. Plant the hands, step back to high plank. Elbows stay tucked in, lower halfway down, chaturanga. Push through the mat, lift your shoulders, coming onto the tops of the feet for up dog. And then rolling over the toes, sending the hips up and back for down dog. Take a moment to clarify your foundation. Check in with your breath. And when you're ready, step the left foot forward to the outside of your left hand. So again, option to stay right here. Or maybe you take a twist, coming onto the outside edge of the front foot, turning the toes off to the left, getting a little bit deeper stretch in the sides of the hips. When you've had enough, bring the toes back forward. And then adjust your back foot so that the heel can drop. Toes are at a 45-degree angle in the back. And on your next inhale, ground through your feet as you rise up, arms overhead, warrior one. Relax the shoulders down the back, pull the ribs in, core is tight. Inhale to prepare. And on your exhale, ground through your front foot. Come forward as you send the right knee into the chest, one-legged Tadasana. Taking a moment to balance and breathe. And on your next exhale, lower your right foot down to the mat. Inhale, grow tall, arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift, flat back. And exhale to fold. Plant the hands, step back through high plank. Option for a vinyasa. And we'll meet in down dog. On an inhale, rise up onto the toes, lifting the heels. Step, hop, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Inhale, rise up all the way, arms overhead. And exhale, arms down to your sides. Coming into half lotus tree pose. Shift your weight into your left foot. Bend your right knee and bring the pinky edge of your right foot into the left hip crease. When you arrive, bring the hands to heart center. Find your balance and take a moment to breathe. Try to stay active in your legs here, both in your standing leg and in your folded leg. Really try to use your glute muscles to draw your right knee down, intensifying the stretch in your hip. Only when you're ready, use your core strength to lift your right foot out of your hip crease and place it back on the ground. Take a moment to shake it out, reset whatever you need. And then shift the weight into the right foot, this time bending the left knee and bringing the pinky edge of the left foot into the right hip crease. Hands come to heart center. Legs are active, core is tight. Take a full breath. When you're ready, slowly release your left leg, bringing it back down to the floor. Take a moment to reset. And then inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands, step back to high plank. Then lower the knees, send the hips back, and find your way into child's pose. Arms stretch forward. Maybe you ground down through the fingertips, finding a little bit of traction on your mat to intensify the pose. Breathe space into your back body. Maybe finding a little sway side to side, getting into your hips. When you're ready, pull yourself forward, spread your fingers, tuck the toes, find your way into high plank. From here, use your core strength to draw your right knee in and setting up for pigeon pose here. So right knee comes to the outside of the right wrist. Right foot comes by the left wrist. As you set up for pigeon, try to keep your hips square. Maybe you place a block underneath your sits bones if you're a little bit higher, a little bit tighter in your hips. Toes stay bright. You have the option to stay right here with chest lifted. Or maybe you slowly start to fold over your front leg. Maybe coming down onto the elbows. Maybe forehead to the mat. Remember to meet your body wherever it is at today. Let go of any expectation, any judgment, and just find your breath. Every exhale taking you a little bit deeper, finding space with each inhale. Only if you're ready, slowly start to back out of the pose. Sit your hips off to the right. Swing both feet around in front of you. Take a moment to shake out the legs. Then cross the legs, roll over the knees. Find your way back into high plank. Setting up for pigeon on the other side, use your core strength to draw your left knee to the outside of the left wrist. Left foot comes behind right wrist. Again, toes stay bright. Dropping the hips. Right leg stays straight behind. Take a moment to make sure that the hips are square. And then begin to walk the hands forward. Maybe finding your way onto your elbows. Relax the head. Sinking lower with each exhale. Take one more full breath. And then going slower than you want to go, walk the hands in. Lean over to the left as you swing your legs around to a sit. Take a moment to shake them out. And if there are any other poses that your body is craving, feel free to take those now. If you are ready to seal in your practice, slowly roll down onto your back, going one vertebra at a time. Extend the arms, extend the legs. Take up as much or as little space as you need. And we'll start to settle in for Shavasana. Really take your time to sink in here. Find a space that is comfortable for you. Relax the space between your brows. Seal your lips, but part your teeth. Let go of your conscious breath. Feel gravity pull your body into the mat. Whatever thoughts might come across your mind, try to just acknowledge them and then let them pass, let them go. These next few minutes are just for you. You can stay as long as you need. Try to stay for at least 5 full breaths. As always, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Namaste.